So NASCAR decides to throw penalties for the 3, the 1, and the 23 after Martinsville. What was it, like $100,000 fine? Drivers would be docked 50 points. I guess at least we know now what the consequences are for those actions. I don't think it's enough. I don't think that penalty is enough. For them helping out those teams, it should be way more. In fact, the 20 shouldn't be in, which they did make the right call, but it wasn't the call because of that. It was because of the wall riding, which for whatever the reason took them 30 minutes to figure out. You would think, they could just look in the rule book, type in like F2 or F12 or whatever a button you can hit to like search keywords and stuff, kind of like on a Google Sheets or Doc or whatever, and just type in Ross Chastain, you'll be able to find it. Like, it should be like a 5-minute process, and for whatever reason that took a half hour. I don't understand that. Yeah, it's typical. It's as usual, very stupid, dumb slap on the wrist for an act that goes against the spirit of racing so hardcore that I didn't even think about it when I was recording the video the first time because of just trying to process everything. But this is worse than Spingate. Now I'm thinking it is worse than Spingate in 2013 because that was just one team. This is two different teams doing some shit. That's egregious. Like, that is haunting levels. Yet Truex, who had nothing to do with anything, got penalized. Yeah, he had nothing to do with it. And then Byron gets nothing. It's like, I love how we can't even be consistent with that because I don't know. There's always that conspiracy that like Hendrick and NASCAR, they're like this, and I don't know. It moments like this make me wonder. I don't get it. I don't understand it. This is one of those things that should have been like an example to really make that message clear. You don't do this. This is objectively wrong and disgusting. And this is a case where you nuke everyone involved, whether they were being helped or whatever the case is. So really, Larson should, in theory, be in. But no. So this shit will just. This basically says that this stuff will continue as long as you have like a sacrificial lamb to sacrifice, literally, get rid of, or be on the line to hemorrhage points or money, which to these drivers is really $100,000 going to really make a dent in their pockets. If you really want to make a message, you make the fine like $500,000 or $1 million, and then maybe then that'll kind of change. I don't know. Maybe $1 million would really kind of scare them straight. I don't know, but. This is why I don't want to be a part of this. It's just embarrassing. I feel I have more pride wearing this shirt, and it's not even a real series. It's a fictional series. It's not real. I have more pride wearing this shirt than I would if I was wearing a NASCAR shirt right now. And the only ones I probably would wear would be like Truex or something, or like Dale Earnhardt. That was like things that were from a bygone era of sorts. different world. But yeah, I got really nothing, man. It's just sad. All of this is just sad. And yet again, it's at the expense of what was going to be a great race. Sorry, I have to rate the race or look at the race as a whole picture. I can't just ignore the last couple laps. And this is why I can't stand Eric Eastep and the way he reviews races, the way he thinks, because he kind of just omits things from the race to then give his score. Well, if I ignore this, then, he works with NASCAR, so I'm not really surprised he plays it a bit soft with certain things, or his ratings aren't right, because, you can't allow that. That has to affect the rating, because it's a part of the race. It happened in the race. You can't just ignore that element. It'll be like, I don't know, the Indy race where it's like, in a hypothetical sense, that race was like really, really good or whatever. And then you have the ending where they literally I look at the ending as that last part of the race. That That is the ending. That is the thing most people are going to remember. And if you're going to come out of that, no one's going to really remember in 5 years that that was a great race. It's more or less going to be remembered of the controversial finish and how much of a mess that was, and it was a black eye of the sport. And I guess people are saying that this is like the end. Where were you when 2015 happened, when Harvick literally spun and wrecked the whole field? Where were you in 2014 when Ryan Newman made it into the Final Four by plowing through Kyle Larson and making it? Where were you in 2015 where Kyle Busch missed 13 races and still was able to compete for the championship, and how like absurd that is? 2016 where Jimmy Johnson's like average finish was like 14th and won a championship even though he wasn't the best all year. Where were you in 2018 when Logano that wasn't even the best all year? Do you see like how many instances we've gone through this? It's gonna keep going. It feels like nothing's gonna change. I'll be amazed if something changes. It's definitely not gonna happen in my lifetime. What probably for things to change, everyone on board of modern NASCAR will have to die. So maybe 30, 40 years from now, I don't want to be around that. Well, not like literally, but like I'm not going to sit here and wait 30 years to see if it changes. I'm not. No. So it's just the same old, same old. Not enforcing the penalties, or it seems very rarely a penalty is made that's like fair. This one is a case where you have to go hard. And I know this could be like, oh, well, they did something. Isn't that enough? Well, you can't just go halfway. You can't. You have to be belligerent and violent in the penalties to really send a message. You can't do this. And when there's radio messages of the 23 or something saying that the 20's backing up to you, like there's clear evidence of fudgery going on around here. This isn't just like some kind of debate. I guess they kind of at least got that picture down, but it's just a mess. It's just an unmitigated, gross, nasty mess of this sport. And it's just going to continue. There's just going to be different forms of manipulation. It's not going to end. This isn't the moment where it's like, okay, like I can't even see. I guess with the Ross saying they let the hammer down. Like, okay, they can't do that. It's just so much worse than that. The integrity. Well, I can't even see the integrity's in jeopardy. It's been dead for years and years and years. But this is just another one in the list of things you can criticize the playoff for doing. I'm sorry, I can't sit here and accept this being okay. No one in any context should be okay with the one race championship. Maybe you could swindle me on a 5 race or 10 races but you could swindle me on that, but not one race. No. Because have fun, like I was saying, have fun in the record books having Joey Logano be ahead of Larson in the points, even though Larson's been better than him. But it doesn't really matter. I just wish they went with the original idea in the Winston Cup era where they were just going to reward more fucking points. How much they were going to do, I don't know. But it's got to be a fair balance to the point where, you can't have Ryan Newman win like 8 races and the other, you can't have someone, for example, win like 13 races and the other 23 like DNF, and then he wins a championship because he just got 13 wins. But you can't do that. I just think an extra 20 points would have been okay enough. That's all. If that would have happened in 2003, Kansas still would have won. Just that Jimmy would have been like, I think 50 points back or something instead. And then technically going into the last race, Kansas wouldn't completely have it locked up. It would be close, but it'd be like kind of like 150 points or 140. I don't know the exact number it was going into the last race. I could look it up on Racing Reference, but the point stands. The win should matter, but not to such a degree where it's just like you leapfrog 5 people. Like Blaney was like 7th or something. And then with his win, he would just jump up 6 spots because of that. Or even Chase Elliott when he was leading near the end, like he was like 8th. He jumps up, 6 spots, 5? I don't know. Just it's gotten egregious, and it was something that even I didn't even like when it happened in 2014, because I thought that was just stupid. We've had like 20 plus different drivers win in races where they're like 16 plus worse on back end points, get bumped up. People that should be in don't get in. People get wins on crazy situations, and you can't have this. It's nonsense. It's not going to change. It's just such a concept. And you have Mike Ford, which is what NASCAR Communications saying that all the negativity of the playoffs is just bots. So anyone criticizing is a bot. We are all just robots in this freaking world criticizing the sport. That is where it's at. That is how delusional and sad it is. I want to get more mad, but it's really just pathetic. And what else? Ellen Soros said like this is what the playoffs do, and it's like he was still praising the playoffs. Like this is what it was made for. What, for race manipulation? No, that's not. No, no, you can't. You could say okay, Martinsville race. If we start taking parts of it out of our brain of what was happening on track in the last 5 laps, then yeah. But this is such a much darker, much more serious issue, and it's only going to happen. I mean, I was surprised not more was a fuss with Vegas. That was kind of blatant, but it wasn't a cutoff race, so I guess it wasn't as severe. I don't know, but this is I don't know. Like 2013, it seemed like it was so bad that in hindsight, it literally destroyed Michael Waltrip Racing, the team in general. Sponsors left. Like, it was a big deal that happened. And they went hard on the penalties. Point is, it's just not severe enough. This is going to continue. And it's just a mess. This is what you get with me rambling. I don't know. I'm done. Enjoy your slop. Enjoy this, whatever this is. Sport. Yeah, we'll be back next year for like another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more instances of stupid, nonsensical officiating decisions, if not more. There's some stat like Eldon Sawyer had to come out like to explain stuff like 30% this season. Like I don't know how many races that is. Like 9. I guess that would technically be like 9 times. So I might be right in that assessment. Like 9 times. So yeah, that'll be fun. Either way, I'm done. Another thing I really wanted to point out is that these drivers are put in a situation where they're not allowed to race. They aren't allowed to race. That is gross. Again, horrible. Bad. No. That's the last thing that I want to experience watching a race is knowing in the back of my mind, I hope he's racing all out. Like, is he? Like, are they? Like, I don't want to be thinking that. And we saw that in the same way. The same way like it was in the Phoenix race in 22, where Blaney had a better car and just was pretty much told to just sit back. That's horrible. A driver should be allowed to go for the race win. Now, obviously, I'm not saying in a sense like, oh, what do you mean, Blaney just run him over? No, that's not what I mean. Why do we straw man it? Why do we like take the things I say and like strip them out of all context? That doesn't mean no. That does not mean Blaney should just go and plow through Logano and win the race. No, pass him cleanly. Do it fair and square, even Steven. Don't pass him, but don't slow him down. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That shouldn't be a hard concept, right? Like the act of passing. I don't know, but yeah, it's just a freaking gnarly. I don't even think people use that word anymore. An ugly situation, and for the penalties given and everything, it's just not enough. I was even looking at the points, like where does that send the non-playoff guys? Like, oh, how dare they? They manipulate it, but like they're not in the playoffs. They have no skin to lose. It doesn't change that for them. Wallace goes from 17th to 18th in standings. Chastain remains in 19th with no change. In fact, Austin Dillon is the biggest loser, losing 5 positions. Goes from 28th to 33rd. When you're that far back in points, not in the playoffs, it doesn't change anything. They are, at least that's the way the race, at least NASCAR acts as them, or at least acts, is they don't matter anymore. So, even when you get to the Final Four, the entire field races those 4 cars differently. You may think that's like hyperbolic or different, but they do. we kind of saw that in 2011. People always kind of remember and glaze over the fact Tony Stewart rallied up through the field, but you kind of have to remember too, the field did kind of take it easy on him because he was a championship driver. They didn't want to interfere with that. They didn't want to mess with him and Edwards. So, yeah. Now that I think of that, it's been a thing, but it just kind of happens more and more now, and that also sucks for the spirit of racing, where it's like, well, if you're not in the playoffs, then you have no right to race them, even if you know they're faster, but so you're afraid to do it. It's weird. It's just a really awkward situation, and none of this would have happened, or at least be as egregious or be horrible, if you got rid of the winning you're in. You get rid of the playoffs, or alter it in a manner where, you know, the last race is maybe just 5 races, or you cut down the field from 16 to 10. Could I say 12? No, but because then that, like, a third of the field would make it. You want it to be illustrious, but then they kept expanding it because teams wanted to be a part of it, and it just ballooned into what we have now. So if we cut it back, then it's only going to be a Band-Aid, and then over time they're going to be like, well, we want more spots because our team didn't make it, and it's not right, and it's not fair, and they're going to complain about it, and then it's just going to expand again. So it's like, we need to cut this, we need to freeze that freaking mole and cut that off, and just like restart. Not like you can literally do that, but like ideally an erratic change to the points would be right. No, this isn't like go what have Kevin Harvick said, where he said some asinine take where if you win the regular season championship, then you're guaranteed to be in the Final Four. Like, no, because then that basically means you have 9 races to not try, which is stupid, which is way worse than if a driver wins in the first race of the round of 16, then they technically have 2 races to not do anything. And then in a hypothetical sense, if a driver wins a 1 race in each round, then they technically have, 5-6 races they could, in theory, not try if they win the race. But I don't think that's ever happened, so the odds of that are going to be very low. But the odds of it happening where a driver wins in the first round and they don't have to care for 2 weeks, that's happened every year. So this idea is way better than Harvick's. So yeah, let's not go with that. I remember seeing that. I was like, wow, dumbass take, because then Truex would have been guaranteed a Final Four, and it's like he hasn't even ran good enough in those last 10 races to even be there. That wouldn't really make sense. But oh my god, I said something factual and like negative against Truex. Oh, how dare I? You know, it's Truex Glazer over here, but admitted to that bit of truthful honesty. Wow, ooh, how dare I? So yeah, yeah, I'm done rambling. I've rambled on for far too long. Just, I would like things to be fixed. Could they go back to Winston Cup? I mean, if they ever did, they would have to just reward more points for the win, just by like, even with the points that we have now, maybe instead of an extra 5 points, maybe 10, maybe give an extra 5, but it shouldn't be. It's got to be a decent balance where, if you win, that doesn't guarantee you into next round. It's just a win just helps you. It doesn't just automatically, lock you. It still has to reward consistency. There has to be that balance. You can't just have wins mean so much here and then consistency is like not even in the frame of the view of this camera. It can't be like that. I know Matt Crafton, but it's a truck series first of all, and other thing too. I don't even think he was even the best truck all year. He really wasn't. It was probably someone else, or like Johnny Sauter or something. I don't know. But actually, I should just look that up now. Why am I doing that now, not earlier in the video? I don't know. I'm just with the Matt Kenseth thing. I don't know. I'm just a freaking. I don't know. I'm irrational. I'm a human being. It was Brett Moffitt, the best lawyer in 2019. In fact, Crafton was 4th. So, yeah. Wow. Who would have thought? Weird. I know. Who would have ever imagined that? Yeah, once again, Brett Moffitt gets screwed out of another championship. Out. Rants aside. That's just same old, just different year. But nothing's gonna change. I'll be shocked if it does. I'm not gonna sit here and wait and expect it. I'm not gonna sit here and have joy, hoping. I'm so checked out. But yeah, not surprised at the decision. Not I felt like something like that would happen, or I almost kind of thought they might have just ignored it altogether, but they didn't. Maybe it's because it was so blatant, it was so obvious. They couldn't just ignore it. They couldn't just put their heads in the sand and ignore it. So that might be the case too. I don't know. Anyways, I'm done. Bye.